Good afternoon, everybody. Wee Paddy from across the shuck, and coming back at you today with another wee video. And this is a nice one. This is a couple of knives I've been given recently by very kind subscribers to the channel, and I thought I would do them two together. They're little small knives. They're fifth pocket knives, if you like. One of the first one, which is the Spyderco Kiwi, is a very useful knife. But I've got some other little metal handle knives, some antique ones, but just ones to throw up there, cheap, cheerful. And the knives, do you use them? Would you use them? Is it something you haven't tried yet and you want to have a go at? I think it's worth it because it's always nice to have change in your pocket. So I'm going to start with this first one. And this is the Spyderco Kiwi. I had wanted this model for a long time. I believe this is about the third or fourth iteration of it. So here it is. It's quite an odd looking little knife. This has been well loved and used, and I like it all the more for it because they're just really good knives. They're not heavy. It's a solid back. If you can see the frame there, it's a slip joint, as I said. Most of these are. In fact, I think all of the ones I have. It opens out, and you have that kiwi beak sort of look. It's an odd-looking knife. Always thought it was odd-looking, but always wanted one to see what it was like in hand. Let me tell you what it's like in hand. There's a full forefinger. Again, this is Spyderco. They don't make pretty things, but they make them so blooming useful and comfortable. This is amazingly comfortable in hand. And you've got just over about 2 inches of blade there. It's maybe weighing about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 grams. So it's not a heavy knife, although it is stainless steel. And it's 8CR13, which I know a lot of people just go, look, it's a fifth pocket knife. You're going to cut wee bits of string or cut the edge of a box open. That's all you're going to use this knife for. It does not need to be a super steel. None of these do. So don't worry too much about the steels. But I think it's really unusual looking knife. And just the polar opposite is this is the smallest knife that Spyderco do. I'd never had one, and it's the little bug. And I just find this, they say this is a key ring, or I suppose you could put it in a chain around your neck, but this to me is just a wee ornament. It's a perfectly made knife in the same materials as this. And there's the fit and finish on this little knife is absolutely beautiful. It really is just a lovely wee knife, and it's a really sharp edge on it. So, I mean, is it useful? Well, yeah, depending on what you want. To throw in your purse. What a great little knife to throw in your purse for opening up a package or an envelope or anything. It will do the job perfectly. You can just about get 2 fingers on it, but it's perfectly safe. It's not going to close on you. You've got a choil there that just stops it closing on you. Absolutely perfect. Lovely little knife. But this one is a genuine worker. If you look at the blade steel, that's not a thin little packet. That will do any job out there you've got. Now, it's not hollow ground, it's flat ground, it's like a sabre ground, and it's not particularly thin behind the edges, but this is not for slicing tomatoes. This is for opening up a parcel, cutting a bit of string. Any little odd job about the house. This is the perfect little knife for it. Really glad to have that in my collection, and I'm going to use it a lot. I know I am already. This one, novelty factor. I've got the smallest knife I've ever had that's actually useful. This would work. If you want something to throw in a purse or even in your wallet, and you don't want to carry a big knife at all, if you're a lady, that's a perfect little knife. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the man bug or the ladybug, only smaller, and we know how useful them knives are. But some of the other ones I've got in my collection, I just thought I'd bring out because they're cheap and cheerful. You don't see them that often. This is from Bryce Blades, would you believe it? And this was done for Battle Box. This is a copper handle. It's a friction folder, and this little knurled top here is where you put your finger. There's a little pocket clip on it, but once you're holding that is a good sturdy little knife. Again, it's probably near 2.5 inches of blade, 3 inches of blade. So it will do most jobs. It's skinny. It's just it's a bit of folded over copper on there. And I just think a really nice little option. It's unusual. I think it was Battle Box, one of these monthly subscription things. And then one of my favourite that I genuinely put in my pocket quite often is the Rough Rider. And this is in brass. Look at this. It has the picture of the horse riders on one side chasing a steer, and you have a cowboy sitting on a horse on the other one. This is under £10, under $10 for this wee knife. It's 440A. I think the Browse Blades actually is D2. It's quite a high grade, but this is just 440A, and it's super. It really is super. It's thin behind the edge. This you can use for anything. A beautiful knife. I'm going to turn that lighting down a wee bit. It's a bit harsh. Now, what else have I got here? Here's another one that I recently got in a package. This is one that I've had over many times, the Higo Nogami. The same sort of thing as the Browse Blades. That's sort of modern day version of this, which was a Chinese knife made at the side of the streets, one bolt, blade just floats around the bolt into a folded piece of metal. It's less glamorous as that one. It hasn't got any style or shape, but this has function. And that's what a knife should have, is function. This works perfectly as a cutting knife, and it's reasonably safe because you've got your finger on top, so the blade really can't go anywhere. Again, it's not something you're going to do heavy work. This is what the Chinese people would throw in their culottes or whatever they wear. Not Chinese, so I don't know. And then some of the other smaller ones that I've got that I really do love. I got this one on Etsy. This was issued in the Second World War. It's just a little pen knife that was issued to troops in the Second World War, and they carried and used them. There's if you can see, the military arrows on there. And it's just, I just think look how thin that is for throwing in your pocket, for doing any little tiny jobs, bits of thread in your uniform, anything. So it's just a handy knife. There's nothing out of the ordinary. Here's another one that I bought off Etsy. I think this cost me £2 or £3. This was new old stock. This is the sort of knife that when I was a little boy, used to go into like newsagents or the old type of newsagent. They used to have cardboard offerings, things that they sold attached to cardboard by little bits of elastic. And these little knives, it's just a little pen knife. It's got a little beal on it. But when we were a boy, this was a great little knife to have. You'd have sat with your lollipop sticks, cutting them away, doing whatever. It was just something to have in your pocket. And a lot of the older men would have carried it. In fact, my father carried a wee knife like this. He wasn't a knife user, he was a knife user, but not a knife lover. There was no such thing as having collectible knives. He didn't have the money for that. So again, about £3 in Etsy. It was new old stock, came off the cardboard. You seen the cardboard where they were all clipped into it. Smashing little knife, absolutely smashing. Now, here's my little favourite. This was given to me by Bob, the knife junkie, and it's a George Wolstenholme. It's an older knife, and I've been talking about this for weeks now. This is just, again, a single blade pen knife. This is quite old. I have a wee bit more research to do, but I would say this is pre-Second World War at some stage, but I'll do the research first. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm not going to bring it up. I don't want it to be spanking brand new, and neither do I think I can get this spanking brand new, but I've actually bought some cleaning equipment yesterday to actually do this. So I'm going to spray it with WD-40. I'll show that spraying and let it sit overnight, and then I'm going to start to gently clean it using some of the materials I've gleaned from other people on YouTube that clean these knives up. I don't want to make this into shiny brand new, but I do want it to be usable. And I want to use it. It's beautiful. It's metal handle, but it's got, it's made to look like it's been jigged. So it's a lovely old knife. So I'm going to do a video of me. I'll do it right from the beginning. I'll spray it. I'll show you what it's like the next day when I clean it up. I'll be doing that in a bowl of hot soapy water after it. Just clean it all up, and then I'm going to try cleaning the blades, taking some of this old patina off. Not at all, but just so as it doesn't get any worse than what it is. And I want to sharpen it, and I want to use it as these I use as little fifth pockets carries. I love just throwing something, different into my pocket than the norm. because that's the joy of knife making to me. None of these are expensive. I think that was a wee bit expensive. I'm not sure what price the Kiwi is because it's not for sale anymore. You can't buy them anymore. Now you can get them on the secondary market, and I've seen them, and they come in all different varieties with different blade material. I think they originally came out with a better blade material and then dropped down so they could get the price down. And then now you can get them with G10 and all sorts. So it's a lovely little option to look for. Incredibly comfortable. This is very useful as a work knife. This is incredibly useful. This is useful. This will be useful. And those two are just, they're great knives for giving kids who are just starting out. A simple little knife just to use and cover. But these ones, honestly, on the Etsy, about £3 delivered to your door, and it's a perfect little knife. It's a metal frame, so a young child, my 10-year-old, well, he's 9-year-old, but he gets a knife when he's 10-year-old, and this is probably what he'll get as his first knife, because I want him to have a slip joint. I don't want him to have a locking knife. If he learns how to use a slip joint, his knife safety will be absolutely fine for when he moves on up the knife game, which I hope he will. He's already started asking, when can I have it, Pop? So he'll have it soon. So there you go. Quick little video. Is it quick? I don't even know. I haven't looked at the time. Anyway, if you've watched to the end of this video, as you know, I've been doing different things. A lot of my subs are looking for GEC knives. So I have gone over my 20 limit, so I have a couple to sell. So I want to sell them to my subs at a very reasonable price. If you're interested in this GEC, this is like a slim trapper, but it's actually called the new, is it Blackjack? Diamond Jack. It's the new Diamond Jack. It's the Northfield, so you get the beautifully chrome blades, not chrome, shiny blades, double ring bolster, the Diamond Jack badge on it, unexcelled, the end cap here. It is a beautiful knife. It is in great condition. It is new in tube, and I have the tube. There's the centering. It's slightly to one side, but look, not that you would ever notice. There's no touching, there's no rub. The blades are perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. I just have a couple of this style, so I don't need them all. So I'm moving this on so I can buy something else. So it will be for a reasonable price. So if you hit me up on my Instagram, PM me, or send me an email. And whichever comes first, it'll go by time. It'll be for a very reasonable price. You can say yes or no, and we'll move on if you don't want it. So there you go. That's up for grabs if you want it. So, hope you enjoyed the wee video. I hope somebody gets a GEC that they were looking for. And I'll speak to you all very soon. Penny's gone. Cup of tea time. Bye now.